This is Andy Pure of Boxing News. I'm joined by Fabio Wardley here in Manchester. Fabio, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. You didn't reply to my message
What message?
asking if we could do a Zoom, so here we are in person.
Blocked you.
I don't blame you, a lot of people seem to be doing that. Fabio, here we are. Before we come on to the reason we're in Manchester, what's the latest with yourself?
Just chilling, mate. Considering retirement, just might do this punditry thing. We're working on a few things. We've got a few things in the pipeline. We're playing around with ideas and stuff. So yeah, we're just being a bit more strategic, chilled about the way we're approaching this year. Obviously, at the start of the year, we were named #1 with the WBA. Very good position to be in. So we're just letting it play out a bit, letting things go and seeing how things fall and trying to pick the right opportune moment.
Is the plan then, from the sounds of it, you mentioned the WBA #1 position, looking for eliminators, final eliminators?
Ultimately, we're waiting to see kind of what Usyk does and what his plan is and how things are going to fall there. But we need to have a plan if he does something and if he doesn't. And we're working on a few different things and keeping all options open, really.
Are there any names in particular you might be able to drop? I know that you've kind of looked past that domestic scene now, so on the world stage, who's maybe tickling your fancy?
There's a number we're playing around with, mostly within that WBA region, because I want to stay at the #1 spot, stay in that top tier place, because if the belts do fragment or mandatories are called or whatever else, I want to be in the pole position.
Have you got not a date, but a kind of a rough idea as to when you'd like to be back out in the ring?
Don't get me wrong, as much as sitting still and being strategic is a good thing, I don't want to go stagnant and stale. So yeah, not too much longer. Maybe May, something like that. Really don't want to really go too much past that, because then you start moving into the second half of the year and I haven't had a fight yet. So I'm not one to really sit still. I usually kind of jump onto fights pretty quickly onto the next one. So yeah, I don't mind hanging around a little bit, but for not too long.
And then when you have this announced as well, I imagine that gives you itchy knuckles as well.
Yeah, just a little bit. When you watch a big fight and it's called Heavy Impact and I'm not a part of it, I'm like, oh well. But it just means the show I get to watch as a fan and get to sit on the sidelines for.
Just get your thoughts on some of these fights. And Dillian Whyte, Joyce. What does Dillian do to overcome the challenge of a juggernaut in this fight?
Depends what juggernaut turns up, I think, is the obvious question. If he's still got that juggernaut of old, if he makes some adjustments and changes and mixes things around, who knows? But I think it's very obvious that if he just goes how he's been going as of late and just kind of walking forward and uses his head as his defence, as Dill was saying, it's probably not the most ideal way to go about things. So, but maybe a loss or two will shake you up, change things for you, and you'll mix it up.
If there aren't those tweaks, and as you mentioned, Joe's defence always being questioned throughout his career, do you feel like it could end up being more of a straightforward night for Dillian?
Yeah, very much good. You can't just walk into anyone in the division just hands down, but very much Dill as well, who can just snap a punch out of nowhere. That left hook we know is very dangerous. Overhand rights, all sorts. He's got different shots in his arsenal that he can just pull out of nowhere. So yeah, you don't want to be just wandering in aimlessly to shots like that.
We've also got Lawrence Okolie and Richard Riakporhe, two new men into the heavyweight division. What are you expecting from that one? Yeah,
an interesting one. Intriguing. Obviously got an opponent in common, or a loss in common, either way. So yeah, it's just seeing how they fare at heavyweight, really. I know we've seen a little bit of Lawrence so far, but I've spoke to him on the sides as well, and he said he's not fully formed, fully set into the weight yet, which is good for him to get one out of the way first and then walk into something big, which is a bit different for Richard, who's jumping straight into a big fight at heavyweight. So I've said that kind of playing around with your weight thing is a factor. It may play on the night, it may not, but we'll see, really. We'll see how it comes out. But either way, it makes it an interesting fight.
Obviously, next week you see Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker share the ring. Fabio, which way are you leaning? Who do you think is going to come out on top?
I'm probably, again, favouritism, however, is extremely close, very much 50-50, but I'm probably leaning towards Parker. But it's probably, again, just because someone I know a bit better, I want to see him do well. It'd be great to see him go second time around and win another world title.
Yeah, kind of a word from yourself on a young stabmate of yours, Moses Itauma. He's obviously been tearing it up recently. Had a fantastic victory in Riyadh just before the new year. What do you see in the gym that we don't see in the ring? How special of a talent do you think we have on our hands?
Yeah, probably a lot more, because he's not really been able to showcase all the things that he can do. Like, don't get me wrong, what he's done so far has been tremendous. It's been incredible, but he's got a bunch more. He's barely got out of kind of second, third gear really. He's got a bunch more levels to go through. So it'll be interesting to see, or good to see, when he's actually able to show that off on the night in front of fans. You need the right person in front of you to be able to do that. I know, like I remember from early on being in my career, just when you're getting rid of people in around 2, 3, whatever, it's great, but also you're like, oh, well, there's more I want to show you, and you're not able to get it out. So, yeah, I think he's very much in a rush, but not at the same time. He knows that he's got a move through the paces, again, smart and strategic, but he's not trying to just hang about and sit there and let it all fall in his palm.
Maybe just a word as well on Derek Chisora's victory this past weekend against Wallin. Seemed to pick up most of the rounds in that fight, relatively comfortable in the end. What did you make of it?
Yeah, look, I think it surprised a few people with that as well. I think Wallin surprised a few people with him not being as switched on as a boxer as we thought he might be. But again, all credit to Derek. He powered through every round of that with the cut as well. I was concerned in the middle that they might pull it, and I thought that'd be really sad to kind of him get done over like that on a technicality. But yeah, fantastic from him to be 40 plus and just powering through 12 rounds like that. So yeah.
He said he has one fight left. He mentioned AJ, Usyk, Dubois. What do you think realistically? What would you like to see him go out on?
I really don't know. I don't know where it lands for him, because he's proven there that it's not an easy night's work for anyone. And then, like, even if you are to come out the other side and you do win or whatever, one, you're going to know you've been in the fight, and two, I don't think people are going to give you a kind of a big hurrah about it either. So yeah, it's not an easy night for anyone in a lot of aspects. So I don't know what he does or who he gets to take it, whatever else. Maybe like a him and Wilder would be quite interesting, I think, maybe.
Fabio, I appreciate your time. I'll leave you now to enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for speaking to me, and I'll see you soon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.